in terms of that first stage where there's a lot of mind wandering going on, you can, there's a number of things you can do to help you stay with the meditation object longer. But the real main problem that you have is that when your mind starts wandering, the wandering will take a long time before you realize that that's happening. So when that's the case, when you have long periods of mind wandering, then the most important problem to solve is the fact that you are not discovering that that's happening quickly enough, and you want to discover it more quickly. And so that's what's important. And it doesn't matter how often that it happens. You know, I suppose just assume that there's some unknown number of times that you have to realize your mind has been wandering and recognize it and bring it back before you're going to have uninterrupted continuity of attention, you know. And just think of it that way. Okay, well, let's check one more off. So that's one last time I have to do it. You know, not resenting it, not feeling bad, not judging, not saying, oh no, this is, and why is my mind doing this? You have to positively reinforce that higher level of awareness that brings you back into the present, and that's where it's bringing you back to, right? Your thoughts, I guarantee you, your thought was not in the present. It was not here and now. But that recognition, that's the here and now. That's the present. That's what you want, right? So that's what you want to work on, is that coming back into the present so that it happens more quickly. And of course, staying in the present, because of course when you're following the sensations of the breath, that also is the present. And as long as you are aware of what's actually happening as it unfolds, you're in the present. You're in here and now. So that's the kinds of practice that you need to do when you're dealing with forgetting and mind wandering. Reinforcing that natural, positive awakening to the present moment, matching action and intention. And the other part is trying to bring as much of that as you can into the awareness of your meditation object, because that will keep you with it and keep you from being carried away. You see what happens when this is taking place? There's a lot of things going on in your mind. And by the way, I didn't mention it, but I'll mention it. Until you get to a much more advanced stage of the practice, you are not interested in stopping thoughts. You're not interested in trying to stop the distractions. All you're interested in doing is directing your attention to the meditation object whenever it moves away from it, and trying to keep it there as long as you can. Let everything else that goes on go on. Don't try to stop it. That's a big mistake. Try to stop the other stuff, same thing. You're going to slow yourself down. It's going to take a long time before you get past this stage. So let the other stuff be. The only thing that you need to be concerned with is going back to the meditation object. Okay, now, what you will have noticed, or what you can notice, because I pointed out to you, is that the reason that you forget is when you're following your meditation object, and we'll pretend that my fingers, the tips of my fingers represent the sensations of my breath. You know, breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. So here I am, I'm observing that, but there's all of this other stuff around here. So just as, you know, while I'm looking at that in my peripheral vision, I'm also aware of, you know, different things in the room. And the other thing that's happening is I can stay pretty much focused on this sensation of the breath, even though my eyes dart away to this and then come back again and dart. What causes you to forget is something comes along that holds your attention long enough to forget this. If your eyes go away, but not so long you forget, then they come back. You have the sense that, yes, there's other things that are competing for your awareness, but they're not making you lose it. Right? So the problem of forgetting is the result of being, of your attention being captured by something else long enough for the forgetting to occur, beyond the reach of the short-term memory that knows what you're doing and why you're doing it. So when you start to get to where there's forgetting, but it doesn't last for a long time, if your mind's been wandering for several minutes, there's absolutely no point in trying to remember what caused the forgetting. And there's definitely no point in tracing back through all the different paths that your mind might have gone on through while that was happening. But when the forgetting becomes short, when there's not a lot of mind wandering, when often what the thought that was in your mind when the remembering occurs is the same thought that took your attention away long enough for the forgetting to happen. Now it begins to be valuable to notice that thought itself. Up to that point, whatever took you away doesn't matter. But when it might be the same one, it's like as I like to use the analogy that if you had been abducted, you would remember the face of your abductor, and if you saw them coming again, you would be on guard. And it's the same thing. You start to notice the not getting into the content of the thoughts, but noticing them to the extent that you recognize. And of course, what you're going to find is they're familiar thoughts. They're the kinds of things that occupy your mind all the time anyway, every day. All of these things that you somehow imagine are really important. The things that you worry about, the things that you hope for, the things that you're planning, so on and so forth. So this gives you the opportunity when you're following your meditation object and you are aware that thought's coming up again, you can keep it from capturing your attention and taking you away. What you'll find, though, is you'll find one of the reasons it can take you away is they're attractive. Some of the thoughts are attractive, not all of them. Some of them are attractive, and there's this temptation, and yeah, I want to think about that. So this is one of my favorite thoughts. Or sometimes it may not be attractive in that sense. It may be, oh, this is important. This is serious stuff. This is, how can I ignore that? This is a serious thought. So you have to develop that skill of recognizing your mind's reaction when that's there and just gently bringing your focus back to the meditation object. So you are training yourself in introspective awareness that allows you to know what you're actually doing in the present, what your mind is doing in the present moment. It's introspective awareness that lets you know that your mind has wandered, but it's also introspective awareness that lets you know that your focus is becoming diffuse, that you're attracted to some other thought or sensation. It's introspective awareness that lets you know that you are at risk of losing your meditation object.